This is based on a real incident, but I read that at the very beginning of the book, in the foreword, and I thought, okay, I wonder, will I be able to see where one ends and the other be? And I couldn't really tell. So tell me where you picked up as a fiction writer.
Okay, well, in the actual incident, a group of Tibetan refugees are climbing towards the pass, which marks the border between Chinese-occupied Tibet and Nepal. They're trying to get across the border and join the Dalai Lama's Tibetan exile community in India, ultimately. They're pursued by Chinese border guards who open fire, kill several of them, capture others, and the whole thing is witnessed by a group of Western mountain climbers who are on the border getting ready to climb a high peak near Everest. So that's what actually happened, and there was a debate among the climbers who witnessed this atrocity. Do we go on with our climb, or do we now go down to Kathmandu, bear witness to what we've seen? Do we upload this the cell phone footage to YouTube and risk antagonizing the Chinese authorities who are allowing us to be here climbing? So all that happened. That's true, and we know that one person, a Romanian climber, actually did intervene in as much as he uploaded that footage and informed authorities that this had happened. In my story, a humanitarian doctor who happens to be at base camp as the base camp doctor, I won't go into the reasons he's there, he actually crosses the border to help some dying Tibetans. So that's the moment where I break from reality and start the novel. And that's where the novel starts rolling off as fiction.
The border is physically straddles a glacier.
Yeah. Yeah, it moves almost a foot a day, actually. So the border is always moving, and the Chinese authorities have to keep coming up the glacier and moving the border back up, reclaiming the 30 or 40 feet they've lost in the last month. In a way, I meant this to be a sort of like amusing commentary on the absurdity of borders and the idiocy of nationalism. That's a theme that's really dear to my heart right now, and it was at the heart of the last novel, Afterlands, where a bunch of guys starving to death on an ice floe keep drawing borders on the snow in this shrinking ice floe, trying to create these little nations on this disappearing piece of ice. I mean, it's similar here, where you've got these people marking and remarking and reclaiming territory on this moving glacier.
You were probably playing with some metaphor, because there's a morality seems to shift, especially for the doctor. Is that one of the things that you're also playing with?
Shifts in what sense?
Well, because he has a pretty clear ideological view that he's, Hippocratic Oath and...
Yeah, but then eventually he does harm and gets involved in some unavoidable violence, right?
Yeah, and he sees his own borderline shifting,
exactly.
And he, like the Chinese, is kind of powerless to stop it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I make my characters leap over a lot of hurdles, and in some ways I'm kind of ruthless with them, but I feel that's the way to, flush their true character to the surface. And that was one of the things I wanted to keep complicating things ethically, instead of making it clear this is a good-hearted doctor who works for an outfit like Médecins Sans Frontières. He's intervening to help these poor Tibetans who are being shot. He's a good man. That would be too easy. I had to keep complicating things. So eventually, he does actually pick up a gun. I mean, to me, life's like that. I suppose there are some ethical truths, but once you start enacting them or trying to act on them in life, there's just nothing but a sequence of complications, I find.
So we have the one story of the doctor and his daughter and the people that he's trying to treat, as the Chinese are sort of taking them to hospital/jail. And then we have the story of this mountain climber who leads the expedition, who has refused to get involved.
Yeah.
Why those two strands?
Well, this sort of gets back to the ethical debate that actually broke out in the wake of the Nang Pala shootings. A number of climbers just wanted to go on with their climb. Many of them had paid up to $60,000 to be there. They said, what's happening down there is not our business, and we're going to go on with our climb. In fact, a number of them went on with the climb. In my story, really, it's only the leader, Wade Lawson, who's a little megalomaniacal and is determined to conquer this peak to redeem his reputation. He's the one who goes on with it, increasingly alone the higher he gets. Well, I wanted to isolate him more and more because he is a sort of megalomaniac and individualist, and so it's inevitable that he will end up alone that way as he climbs higher and higher up the peak. So that's sort of the natural result of his ambition.
And he's also a bit of a mirror image of Dr. Book.
Yeah, he is in some ways, yeah. But the way they come back together, in a sense, when he's alone on the mountain in the latter stages of the book, he's actually at one point only a couple thousand meters away from the refugees and the people who are returning back up the mountain. So it's like they have their own mountain to climb. So they're sort of reunited in a conceptual sense and even in a physical, geographical sense towards the end of the book. And I wanted, I just want parallel stories, plot and subplot, rather than a single story moving on its own trajectory.
Well, good job. I was quite pleased with the book, and that it was a lot more complicated than I thought it was going to be about Tibet. And
you got to make it complicated, right? Truth is in the nuances. It's not in bold statements about, who's good and bad. I didn't want you to know who to cheer for all the time. I mean, sometimes you want the Tibetans to escape, right? But I wanted the Chinese lieutenant to have his say too. You people come here and tell us that we treat the Tibetans badly. Well, what about when you're forcing opium on us and forcing governments and religions on us? Why is it okay for you to do that? Why can't we be bullies too?
The book is Every Lost Country. I've been speaking with the author, Steven Heighton, and Every Lost Country is published by Knopf Canada.